Comedy Simp, the podcast you can't resist. Stephen Michael James, the host you won't wanna miss. From Seattle to the world, his humor will persist. Join the fun, get ready to enlist.
All right, well, here it is, guys. Comedy Simp Podcast, episode 40. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Stephen Michael James sitting here with the one, the only, the comedy ninja, the Tacoma assassin, the professor, Xavier Rake.
I'm here.
I made up all those nicknames on the way here. So,
you know what? I like those nicknames, and some of them are gonna stick. The comedy ninja.
yeah.
I'd like to go under. I like to fly under the radar. That's what I'm trying
Well, I was
to
going
do.
to say, that is not a cultural appropriation, not because you're Asian. You
Yeah.
know, anybody can be a ninja these days. It takes training. It's not a racial thing. It is a specific, I mean, we saw Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, if you want to train under Ra's al Ghul, doesn't matter. We got comic books here, so I was just like,
Who ended up being Liam Neeson?
yeah, who had a special set of skills, which was
I'm not even the white kind of Asian.
Yeah. There you go.
the right kind of Asian. That's
Yeah.
all Japanese, baby.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I ask what kind of Asian you are? Is that okay?
Yeah. I'm Vietnamese. I'm a little bit over half Vietnamese.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
You definitely tricked me because I have a friend named Carl. Carl, a guy I used to work with, Japanese, you know, and he used to say, like, you know, he would ask people, what kind of Asian do you think I am? And then I was like, I'm not going to fall for this trick, but
It's a great trick.
Usually I'm pretty good because, you know, like, I don't know, I spent a lot of time around different people. I'm almost 40 at this point, and I swear, man, I just, in my head, I felt like this Filipino energy from you, and I was just so off. I just feel so just, something is messed up. Too much weed.
Filipino energy. I could see that.
You know what it is? It's, I used to work with Filipino guys, and they're always happy and in a good mood. And like I feel like when I'm around you, you have this happy energy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not necessarily some of your online posts
Yeah.
are the happiest.
Yeah.
But no, in person, dude, like you're very.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the online and some of the posts because that doesn't accurately describe my demeanor in real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They could be like, they're two polar opposites, to be honest, sometimes, you know, because I am genuinely or usually a pretty lucky go type of guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much weighing me down. You know, I've dealt with a lot as well, lived a lot, met a lot of different people, and you know, I'm starting to click, I feel like, and like just existing. You know what I mean? Just like kind of figuring out my place in this crazy, chaotic, fucking crazy thing that's happening, which is fucking life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say comedy, and then when you said life, I'm like, okay, yeah, life. Life is insane right now, and it's like all of us, so many different things. I mean, look, dude, we're sitting here in your business, your place of business.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to shout it out? Is that, or do you want to like get
Yeah,
some
we
free
can-
advertisement here? Like, we're here in Tacoma,
Yeah,
Lakewood area.
Yeah, we can definitely shout it out. This is EZ Gadget Repair.
EZ Gadget Repair. And so you were telling me earlier you had this place for about 5 years.
Yes,
And
yes.
so-
We've been open for about 5 years. I opened it myself. I do all the repairs. I marketed it myself. I built it myself, designed it, everything, and it's been going great.
And
it's been.
I mean, in like you said you're 33. Like, that's insane, man. You've had, when you were not even 30, you started your own business, and to me, 5 years going seems pretty successful. So, I mean, what kind of got you into this whole thing? Because honestly, man, grew up with video games, computers. I do not understand microchips whatsoever. You know, I've changed a couple circuit boards here or there, but I don't even understand how they work. So
Yeah.
was this like a thing that you were interested in when you were younger, or did you fall into it? I mean, well,
Yeah, I fell into it. I've been fixing electronics my whole life since I was in high school. We used to have this class in my high school that was A+ certification and Net Plus certification, and it was really cool because my teacher, his name was Mr. Greenberger, and he was kind of ahead of his time a little bit because he wrote the curriculum for those classes, and he introduced them to that into our high school, and then now they seem to be like more popular in high school curriculums. And the basis of one of the classes, A+ certification, was just by the end of the semester you just had to build your own custom computer, which was super easy. So the rest of the time you had a lot of time like to just mess around with electronics. And I just started fixing iPods. I was like, I already built a computer, and I was goofing around. We would create networks and play, Doom 3D or Unreal Tournament. I don't know if you remember Unreal Tournament.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we just have LAN parties, and then in between then, I had a bunch of people who their iPod videos their headphone jacks were getting messed up. It was a really cheap part. I would just and I just started from there. And then the iPhone 2G and 3G started coming out, and the screen started breaking, and I just kept fixing them, and it became a main source of income for me, which is
you're your own boss, which is cool too. I mean, you're busy, you work a lot of hours, but at the same time you do have some freedom, and you don't have anybody telling you what to do, which is kind of like the ultimate goal for some people.
I think so, and I honestly, because the kind of influence that your work schedule has on people, I think is sometimes is undersold. You know what I mean? Because when you're working 8 to 10 hour days in some place, and then you barely have time to kind of think. Sometimes I'm sitting here when it's not busy, and I'm working on some electronics, and I can't even escape my own mind. So I'm what I mean, like I'm thinking to myself and self-reflecting, when a lot of times you might not get that chance if you're on this work schedule, and then you're home and you're exhausted all from that work schedule. And
I feel it, man. I work for a company, I long hour. I mean, I used to do garage door repair up until last year, and that was just terrible because hours are weird. How you do comedy when you're like, you don't know where you're going to be, where you're, how late you're going to be working sometimes. And it's like, even if I was, say, in West Seattle on a Wednesday, I could be like, oh, yeah, I could go to Burien and do the flight path. Well, no, because I got my work truck, right? And I don't want to leave my work truck unattended because, people will I've left it unattended in places before, and people will mess with it and get to your stuff, and
Oh yeah.
Shit'll
get robbed.
In California, I didn't have tools or anything like that, but it's just like the tool rip-off game is very strong all over, and I think it's definitely ramped up in the last couple of years. I mean, I like all these garage door guys that I worked with, their tools were always getting stolen, the boxes getting broken into, catalytic converters being ripped out from under the trucks. Like it's people are struggling, man. And then you also even put into the fact, and we'll talk a lot about the beginning of it, is you do comedy as well.
Yes.
And a lot of people think of comedy as a hobby because, man, a lot of us don't get paid. But you put a lot, like comedy to me takes up so much of my mental space, during the day. Whenever I'm at work and I'm doing any sort of mundane task that I don't really have to focus on, I'm thinking about like, God, what am I do next in comedy? What's the next place I'm going to go to? I need to write some new stuff. Man, why did that last joke not do so well? How come TCC didn't put me on this one, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just always like constantly going through my head. But
it really.
But it's a job. It's also another job. Besides this, your full-time job, you got another job where you're like, eventually, I assume that maybe you want to do something with it. You know, do something more than just be an open micer. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do consider myself, because I have gotten a good amount of paid gigs. I don't know if there is a threshold to where you're like consider yourself a professional comedian. I really feel like I'm on in kind of the like in the middle almost right now, because I've gotten paid pretty well for some comedy shows. And it's tough because it's all, you got to keep your ear to the ground in comedy. And that's why it does take so much of your mental capacity to just to even perform as an open micer, because there's just so much going on, and it's not just you against yourself, it's you against other comedians, you against other forms of entertainment, other forms of art,
against the audience,
against the
audience.
Bookers. Yeah. And then, but that mentality, I realize that mentality also makes it harder, because it's like, it's either they're against you or they're with you. And it's like, you got to get them on your side. And that's every day I feel like I'm in an interview and I'm trying to get the audience on my side. I'm trying to get this comedian. I'm trying to get you on my side. You know what I mean? And that's what it feels like. That's what comedy feels like sometimes, is like you're just constantly in an interview. That's like.
Well, I tell you, I noticed you right away. I think when I started going to Tacoma, it was the beginning of 2024, and I swear you might have even been at that first open mic that I went to. Were you at the one where the dude threw the water on the lady?
No, I actually wasn't.
Okay, you weren't at that one. Okay.
But I know who that was, and I'm mad I missed it.
I kind of know who that was too. I mean, I don't know him, but I met him. Yeah,
I know him.
But yeah, it's but probably one of the ones after that. You know, we've been on a lot of those different open mics together. And,
yeah, I've seen you there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the two things that, and this is like really cool why I wanted to talk to you, other than I was telling you earlier, I really appreciate people that are like doing stuff, like going out of their way, not just doing stand up, but like, you know, like you're doing a podcast now with Derek, this guy Derek Gladson,
yeah, Derek Gladson, punching down.
It's an MMA comedy style type podcast, or just straight MMA? Like,
no, it's a comedy MMA.
It's a lighthearted, educational, funny couple guys, just you know. And I'm gonna check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but like,
we only have one episode. We're getting that going. He also has a podcast, Open Mic Heroes, which you should check out as well. I have an appearance on there, and they're pretty popular in the Chehalis and Centralia area, and which is a cool comedy scene that you should check out too.
I haven't been down there yet. I've been wanting to go down. You know, I'm going through some stuff right now, if I'm being honest with you. You know, it's been about 9 days since the last time I did comedy, and you know, I've had a couple breaks here there, but this is the first one where I feel like there's nothing that's really making me take a break, but I feel like I just need to just set back and like kind of just think about where I'm at, what I'm doing, and what I want to, how do I want to get to where I want to be, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I feel like, if I could be wrong, that maybe I'm at a point right now where you were at, maybe not that long ago. Because you said you started comedy a few years before kind of the COVID time. Yeah. Right? So how did that happen? You know, what was the whole thing that got you into the, you know, because it takes a lot to want to like get up on stage and be like, all right, everybody, look at me, listen to me. I'm going to make you laugh now. You know, like
complete strangers.
Was it like something that developed when you were a kid? You know, like
yes,
brothers and sisters or anything like that? I mean, like
comedy is very natural to me because I developed it as a defense mechanism since I was a child. Yeah. And I felt like I was a comedian long before I tried comedy. Mm-hmm. And the reason I got into comedy is I was living in Irvine, California, and I had a roommate who was a stand-up comedian. And
wow, nice.
And he was a couple years in the game, and he got me to try it a few times. I tried it probably, maybe 3 or 4 times, and I killed every single time I tried.
And so where did you go? Where was the?
So the first time I ever did an open mic was there's a burger spot right across where they do an open mic on the Irvine Improv.
The Improv. Okay.
Yeah, the Improv. And there's the burger place right across from it.
Yeah.
And then there was there was this guy who runs it. His name was N-word Frank.
N-word Frank. I don't think that's his real name, but we're just going to assume that the N-word stood for something.
And back then, if you didn't call him his full name, you know what I mean? He would get mad.
I feel like I've heard about this guy on another podcast. Like, maybe one of the famous comics out there have had run-ins with N-word Frank, huh?
Yeah, N-word Frank was his name. And and he would literally have a fucking afro pick in his afro and shit.
Yeah, I knew a guy like that. Yeah.
And I would go to this burger joint across from Irvine Improv, and and I used to kill it there. And then I did a couple of shows with him. Like, we did a birthday roast with my roommate, Josh Botten, by the way, who he has some stuff on Tubi now, which is
if it's on Tubi, we're gonna put a link in the description.
Yeah, you should check that shit out too.
No, I will check it. I love, that's the thing is with comedy, I love the big guys, like the big names and stuff like that. But once I started actually doing it, I stopped kind of watching as many big specials and kind of more paying attention to just live. Like, we have these guys, Seattle, Tacoma, that are so funny. And it's just like,
I agree.
I don't know if I've heard that part of it is just like seeing comedy live versus on TV is one thing, but then it's just we actually have really, really talented people that people don't really know about that are hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I find. Yeah, one, there is. I'm a real big proponent of that. Sometimes I don't even record. Sometimes I'll get kind of torn about being mad that I didn't record a set where I absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
But also I feel as if a lot of it doesn't translate to film really well. And it's a performance art that you kind of have to be there to get the full effect, you know? And I totally agree, because I get blown away sometimes when I go and to open mics and I see, or I do like a local showcase, and it's like some random person I've never heard of, and they're actually really funny, and they're and super talented. And I start realizing that there is something that happens in comedy that's weird, that I notice a lot of the best comedians are always quitting, or they're always moving on to something else, or they're always, struggling to gain some of the traction that I feel like some other people may not deserve. But who's to say that they do or don't deserve it because they've gotten it? You know what I mean? Like, so
absolutely,
it's a, and that's what I love about comedy, because it's such a weird equation to solve, and it's kind of, Mm-hmm. I used to think it was just about being funny, and then now I'm realizing, like, it's more about how you interact with other comedians.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can be, I don't know, there's not a lot of people that are like, I don't know what you would consider even like the best today, but like, there's not a lot of like Bill Burr level comics even in like Tacoma and stuff like that. So there's
no one who's
there's nobody that's an asshole that's amazing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, everybody that's really good that I've met, that's like getting all the headlining spots and stuff, they're also in really nice, really cool people that will give you advice and stuff like that.
Well, there's a certain and that's something I like to talk about a lot too, is because you'll see a lot of people be really like, they'll go on stage and they'll have like this kind of attitude, and it's like, and they're trying to be like that standoffish, dickish guy that you can't help but like. But it takes so much time to cultivate that sort of aura, or that sort of, that Bill Burr, like, he's like, I'm telling you what you're afraid to say, sort of, you know what I mean? It takes so much charisma to, and you have to, there's a way of presenting that sort of opinion or that sort of personality, and it's I feel like it comes from a genuine place from a lot of comedians, and it's like, for people like that, that's a character he's built over decades. You know what I mean?
Well, so I'll tell you here's an example of somebody locally, somebody that we know, Logan Cantrell. All right, everything about
bullies.
him, I feel like I shouldn't like him just because he comes off like kind of like not the kind of guy I would want to hang out with, but then it's like but I do like him. Like he's just, I think it's maybe because I know like it's kind of a character for him a little bit, but like I mean, I've kind of studied that a little bit of like, you know, what he does on stage versus off stage. And like everybody that like I've talked to like kind of works with the club and stuff, it's almost as if they're trying to protect this secret that he's actually a good guy and he's not a bully, you know, that kind of thing. And he's like, I got this reputation. But like, yeah, man, we mentioned the bully. Like that show, the Back Booth Bully show that's a thing that you gotta be there. You gotta be there live. It is just one of those experiences. Like they have some cool videos on YouTube and like definitely watch them, support them. But like, being there live is just like, so how many times have you done that show?
Back Booth Bullies, I've done that show a handful of times, probably.
I think I did it like 3.
Yeah, probably around there, like 4, 3 to 4 times, maybe 5, but definitely a handful of times.
So people don't know. I kind of explained it a little bit. It's like a mix between like a roast and a game show, and then also comics. Yeah. And then there's also just like there's stunts also, like the stunts. It's not. I think some people who've never been there like assume that like everything is stun gun, and it's not. You know, there's like actually like some skits, sketches and stuff like that.
Well, that was when they first, because when they they were stun gun heavy, which is it's hard not to be because it's so fun to tase people on stage. I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like it was so, but yeah, I like to describe it as like you know, like Jackass meets Kill Tony almost.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah,
but it's their own thing, and the only thing that I wish
maybe a little Squid Games.
Maybe if they had one other person for production that can do like some more lighting or music or stuff, because I love when they're playing music and like Mason and Macy are both in rhythm together, like dancing to the music, and then Logan's like, hey, 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 you know, like it's just like a vibe. It's a cool, and if like they just had like one other thing to bring that production up, it would be, you know, but it's still building, you know, it's still building. What are some of the stuff that you did? I know you did the hot wings.
Yeah, right? I did the hot wings one.
How was that? Because I loved spicy food when I was younger, but now, man, I'm getting older. It's getting hard. I mean, so.
No, that was terrible.
Was it?
It was very hot.
Yeah.
It was pretty hot. It was worse later that night when I was going to the bathroom.
God, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. And I literally had to drink like 2 or 3 beers. It definitely wasn't worth it. But it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, and the beer chug was fun.
Oh yeah, that was that. Yeah, that would be fun. I would do that one.
Yeah, and that's what I like about that show is that it is a lot of fun. You can get a guaranteed spot at the club. You don't have, you know what I mean? In case, you know, usually that's an open mic, so it's cool that you're, you know, and they got cards with everybody on there, so you know that's really awesome. And you don't have to bring like, because I'm always saying new stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm always, so like for me, I really like the opportunity to go up there every Monday and just say whatever and be light and breezy without really diving into, and then sometimes I do dive into some stuff that I wrote, you know what I mean? And then other times I kind of just, you know. And
the first time I just did a bucket spot. I just had a surgery. I was like, man, I'd love to get shocked, but it's probably not the best thing for me.
Yeah.
So I just did some jokes. And then the next time I did the ice cream thing.
Oh, yeah. I did one of those,
And it was okay, but I didn't get to the brain freeze. And then I got shocked after that. And I just was like, okay, this is not like a thing to do your set. This is more like, you're playing a character as part of this ensemble, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like, and once I got that, I was like, oh, okay. And then I kept thinking about
this is improv.
And I was thinking about the camera in the back, you know, and it's like the camera can't see you perfectly, so it's like make big movements, you know, like big eyes and big hand, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see. I mean, it's they've been having a lot of fun. They're doing some cool stuff. I'm gonna go back. It's just you know, right now I'm really I got a lot of stuff going on, man. I'm writing some new things and trying to figure out Seattle. Do you ever come up to Seattle for comedy?
I have a few times. I do need to go up there more. I've done like the 907 before and Flight Path, and I've done the Comedy Bar a couple times. And I am. A lot of people tell me I have to venture out there, and I'm getting to the point where I'm ready. I'm at the point where it's like I'm almost ready to start really investing in comedy, investing more time, investing more money. I plan on, building a podcast studio in the back of here.
Oh, nice. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah. So this being the first podcast I ever filmed here is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
fucking sick. You know what I mean?
No, this is
I was
like-
about to fist bump you.
And then got it. No, this is
That's
like,
how I felt in high school. I was trying to fist bump
Yeah.
people, and then that's how I became a
how
comedian.
I feel sometimes when I go to TCC, because like I live pretty far. I live in it's a town called Granite Falls, which is Everett's kind of off the freeway a little bit. Granite Falls is kind of like 20 minutes to the east, so I'm kind of even more off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah.
So I always kind of feel like an outsider to like every little scene I go to, whether I go to club comedy in Seattle, or if I go to the Shanghai Room, if I go to my open mic in Kirkland, or TCC. But like TCC, everybody's nice to me, but it's just like I always like look at people and I'm like, do they recognize me? Should I say something to them? Like one of them, like the last time I was there, I saw Hagen. Murphy, and like I never really talked to her that much, but like I feel like she was like trying to say hey to me, and I was like, okay, and it was just this weird awkward moment, and then like, but now I just try to embrace. I try to be cool with women too, because like certain women in the comedy scene have been very vocal about guys and all that, and it's like, I got a wife, I got a kid, I don't want to come across as either flirtatious or aggressive, anything like that. So I try to be really gentle with like girls and stuff like that. But like Jess Anderson, like I was like, I always try to avoid. I'm like, hey, you did a good job, and like we're cool now. But it's just like I was always like, because I know she blew up on another comic, then got him banned from her club, and and so I was like, I was friends with that guy, and so I'm like, does she associate me with him? It's just this weird like internal
overthinking
thing.
and
all that. It's like
no, totally, because it is kind of like that. I mean, comedy is it's a small community, even amongst Tacoma and Seattle.
And there's people that hang out together, like groups that hang out together.
Yeah, and it clicks. There's lots of clicks, and there's lots of bigger presences, like a bigger presence within the community, and they're growing and growing. And it's just like it gets to the point where it really does feel like you're in high school again. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it does, and it's even more so because when I was in high school, I was like skipping class and taking ADHD medication and watching TV. I was trying to do anything but go to school. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, now I understand like the groups and this and that.
Yeah, now you can bounce from click to click. But that's also, I feel like, something from Washington too, because it is very, very cliquish here, more than I would think. Like in the few times, I mean, I didn't do comedy enough in Irvine to really have like a strong comparison, but it didn't seem as cliquish there as it was here, and it didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it didn't seem as if it was the quid pro quo, I book you, you book me sort of mentality, or I only book my friends, or the bad blood that happens because of some, you know what I mean? You're associated with someone else, or, it didn't seem that way. It seemed more like we were all on a fucking grind. We're all trying to get better, and we're all trying to stand out in some sort of way, but there's not as much interfighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems like that to me. That's what it seemed like.
So you told me you spent some time in Vegas, spent some time in Southern California, Irvine.
Yep. What
brought you up to this area in particular? Like, was there a specific thing? Did you have family here, girlfriend? I mean, actually, it seems like a random place, Tacoma.
Yeah, no, it was
versus Seattle. Because most people who pick a random spot, like, I'm gonna go to the major city. So
yeah,
Even though Tacoma is a pretty cool city, actually. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Tacoma has actually been done pretty well. Done good by me. It is a random place. I did live closer to Seattle.
Originally.
When I first moved here, and I kind of just, I was like, Seattle's like LA. This is all Seattle to
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? Like,
It's very true. Yeah.
That's what I thought you know what I mean, at first, and it is in some ways does seem true. I moved out here because of business, because of this store, and I did actually have a business partner originally. Mm-hmm. And he was a silent partner, and he was a friend of mine, and I had helped him sell a store. We had a store in Vegas, actually.
Oh, nice.
And his wife was from here, and she had a lot of family and a lot of people that a strong group of people out here. And she actually was diagnosed with ALS.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And she was they just had like two kids, who were like, a couple years old. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you know what I mean? ALS is, there's pretty much no cure. You know what I mean?
I don't really watch it anymore, but when I started doing comedy, I watched a lot of Kill Tony, and there was this comedian that had ALS.
I know what you're talking
and
about.
Just over time, you just watch the deteration.
Yeah,
Eventually,
and
he couldn't. He had to check out, but
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. It's
tough, man. So so she went through all that, and then
so he brought her up here. He was like, she wants to be, he was moving her and the rest of his family up here to be closer to the rest of her family.
Yeah.
And it would have been very helpful. And then he was like, I gotta take care of her, and I need you know what I mean? I need can you help me with a business? I can put some money into it. I just I can't be there every day.
Yeah.
I gotta,
need you to run it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I was in California, and COVID had happened, and I went to Vegas for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? I never imagined I'd be up here and living here for this long, and I was like, you know what? I'll go up here and see what's up with this, and open up this store, and worst case scenario, we'll just sell it, or I'll hire and train someone.
Yeah.
So, and then I ended up being,
and then now you're 5 years later.
Yeah,
So tell me then, what when you're here, when did you want to start? What brought you to start up the comedy again? Was there a specific inspiration? Did you go see anybody, or were you just like, all right, now it's time?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know what exactly. Yeah. I found out that Nate Jackson's is right around the corner.
Yeah,
and I felt like I wanted to, and I had done so well in the few shows that I did in Irvine.
Yeah,
and my roommate was still hitting me up saying, make sure you start doing comedy out there. And I was telling him, yeah, I'm totally knowing damn well in my mind, back of the head, I was like, I'll probably never do comedy again. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I was just sitting here one day, and I was like, well, let me look it up. And it was a random Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And I looked it up, and I was like, that's literally around the corner off of Hosmer. Yeah. And I was like, so let me just go over there and do a set. And I went over there, and what was so crazy is that Nate was actually there.
Yeah,
and
first time.
First time. And
yeah.
he right after I went up, he was like, let me go up, and he went up, and then he talked to me the whole time, and was making fun of some of the stuff that I was making fun of, and and some of the stuff that I was saying that, I mean, it was a good set, and then from there I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this again, and I'm gonna even if it's just for fun.
That was a cool little club. I only went there like 3 times, and now the rumor is there's a new one opening up, Nate Jackson's. I think I saw a big old picture of Matt Rife on the front, so I'm like, hey, he's definitely going for the female demographic. But no, I think it was the first or second time I went there. Like, it was. I hate the term, but, a lot of the comics, they say double dipping, where you go from one open mic to the other. I went from, like, a TCC to Nate's, and, like, at that time, there wasn't that many people there. It was probably, like, 7 people there, and then he comes in, he walks in, and, like, man, I don't know what he was wearing, but everything looked expensive. He had some nice jacket, nice pants, nice watch, everything, and he sat down, and he did, like, 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is cool, man. He's just doing 20 minutes for us. And then this was like right after the Cat Williams interview came out.
Oh, okay.
The big one on Shannon Sharp one. So
Yeah.
then somebody was like, hey, Nate, what do you think about Cat Williams? And then like he's like, oh, I know Cat Williams. And then he just did a whole another 25 minutes talking about Cat Williams. And I was like, this is awesome, you know? So,
Yeah.
And that's like, if I didn't do comedy, it would never have that kind of a moment, which is just awesome. Like, it's, you know, even though I haven't really got to do a lot of things in comedy, some of the coolest things are some of the being able to have conversations with like professionals, you know, and have them give you a little bit of advice or maybe even a compliment or two. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
What have there been some kind of moments, like maybe people that have kind of given you some props? You know, obviously Nate Jackson, but other people that, you know, in the scene that.
I did there's been, you know, they used to do the, I don't know if they'll do it again, but the funniest motherfucker contest. I'm not big on comedy contests, just cause it's like, I know some people are objectively funny. There is an objectiveness to funniness, but it is very subjective too, depending on, you know what I mean, your perception and But yeah, the funniest motherfucker. I got a lot of really good feedback from Nate again, him, and then his manager and his sister, which was really awesome. I had in the very beginning Sam Miller,
nice,
you know, give me some advice. Also met him at Nate Jackson's, and he told me, you know, about keeping comedy at bay, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of talking about, you know, make sure you have a life outside of comedy, because he was, and he really stressed that to me. He just was like, hey man, you're getting better and better every single time I see you. Just, you know, just word of advice, you know, make sure you have a life outside of comedy, because, and I was just, something that always stuck with me, because I was like,
yeah, you need stuff to
I was
talk.
like,
I mean,
yeah.
nobody wants to
At the
hear
time, I was like, what is he talking about? But then now I'm like, now I know, because literally it will take over your whole life if you let it.
Yeah.
You know?
I've definitely heard about some comics that do some material that's like stuff that's like 10 years old, because they just haven't, their whole life has just been stand-up, and like they just, you know, they can't have nothing new to write about. You know, they're still talking about Lil Jon, you know, or or 2012 or something like that. So shit, man, it's crazy. You know, I said earlier, one of the things I liked about you was you do stuff. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, and I feel like I said earlier, I'm in a similar place, is I've definitely seen you've had some frustration. You know, you kind of put that frustration online a little bit. I do the same thing, you know, and it's tough because we see people that maybe aren't even that funny, but you know, they have the opportunity to show up more often, or maybe they're just like nicer or more buddy with the person in charge. And ultimately, like, for me, I always want like the best show, and the people that like want to do it the most seem to be the ones that are the most entertaining. And yeah, it's there's nothing I hate worse than going to an open mic and somebody is up there and they're just wasting time, because it's like, you know, man, it's like you know, you're a single guy, but it's like, hey, I'm taking time away from my wife, my kid. I'm out here doing this 3 minutes, and I gotta wait and sit through you. Don't even know what the hell you're doing up there, you know, like. Yeah. So yeah, that it's definitely, there's so much frustration, and so that's kind of like, I'm trying to hold myself back, because I don't, you know, I've seen other comics like, you know, take shots at you based on some of your responses, you know. Like kind of. Oh,
like online?
Yeah, like you know, maybe you shouldn't say that kind of thing, and they talk a little bit of shit, and then it's like, whatever. But
I don't think I get a lot of people. I mean, people probably talk shit about, but I don't get a lot of it.
I'm just talking about a specific white rapper who likes to do some trolling online.
My boy Steve? Yeah. What did he?
No, I love. So everybody.
Did he take some shots at me? I don't know.
I just remember like one time, like during the there was some time where you had like did you have one of those Make Me Famous nights or something like that? You had a show that you were very excited about, and then you're like, oh man, I bombed it or something like that, and I feel like somebody was making fun of you a little bit, and it's just like, oh, you know, it happens, you know. You'll get over it.
No, I again, like online, that's just like almost like a on-stage personality as well.
Yeah.
It's something that and this goes back to just how I view the world personally too, and how society is, and how you have to operate and be successful. So it goes deeper. It's not that deep, but it does go deeper when it comes to just like online, how that represents who you are like in real life. And sometimes I feel like people get pressured to like have online life and your offline life sort of similar or almost exactly the same. But it's like, you know, some online is just a personality, just like on stage is just a personality.
Yeah.
And you know, in real life, I'm a multi-dimensional being with multiple different sides, just like everybody. You know, hopefully, if you're, you know what I mean. Hopefully, you're not just like a two-sided person, or you know what I mean. Hopefully, you have a multitude of different thoughts and angles and opinions and perceptions on different things. You know what I mean? To be a complete. So, online, all of that, none of it I really take seriously. Even if comedy, I don't really take seriously, even when I do it as a job, because it's part of the job. You know what I mean? It's part of separating yourself from your personal feelings is part of acting, part of performing, part of, you know, and it's all a performance. And it's all part of a larger picture that I'm trying to paint. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
smart guy. Look at this. Thinking on a deeper level, people. Yeah, man. I appreciate that a lot. Like you.
But the frustration is real.
Well, not only that,
the frustration is real because it can be frustrating, you know?
Yeah. Especially it's like the reason I bring that up is because I think I remember a specific time where I read into something where I'm like, man, I think he's going through it. And then literally the next night I saw you and you had an amazing set. Like you just had like an awesome set at TCC, like at Six and Proctor or something like that. Yeah. You know?
And you're like, what the hell?
And I was like, oh yeah, but you know, I'm that way too. I'm human, you know. Like you know, and when I'm happy, I tell everybody, and when I'm sad, I tell everybody. You know, that's just how it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that even though that's how I want, you know, I gotta, you know, be less negative online and present less of a negative persona, and I think they're right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, it magnifies. If someone thinks something negative about me and then I have something and I'm putting some negative stuff out, it just fucking multiplies itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people also they like to read into things that maybe aren't exactly what they are. Well, so yeah, people are always we're all kind of a little mentally ill here or there.
100%. Yeah, especially within, you know, in general, but within the comedy community for sure. I mean, we're all either diagnosed or should be diagnosed.
So I know we talk about cliques and stuff like that, and it just seems to me you don't really have a clique.
No,
like to me, it seems like you're kind of more of an outsider like me. But
I'm a floater.
Who do you think are some of the people that you would consider friends in the comedy scene? You know, people that maybe you talk to every once in a while, or people that you always talk to every time you run into them. You know, like
I try to be. You know, I have a lot of acquaintances in the comedy. I try to give out good energy. I'll have a lot of friends. I consider, you know, Derek Glatson to be someone who I met and
he seems like a really good guy. Like I said, I haven't met him yet. But
he's a really good guy in that community.
Like, I see a guy who used to be in a band who knows about pro wrestling and MMA.
Dude,
comedy, so I'm like, there you go. That's
got to be a cool guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be, you know, has video. He was posting videos of Warped Tour, bro. You know what I mean? That brings so many memories back.
I went to Warped Tour 7 times.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, like I
Yeah.
was there, like I
Yeah.
think, maybe 3 or 4 times. But some of the best times as a kid,
Yeah.
you know, was
You grew up with that kind of music? Is that?
Yeah, I grew up with a whole bunch of different eclectic
Yeah.
sort of music, but yeah, there was a alt, punk, pop punk, rock, sort of White
Nice.
Stripes, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like that kind of. But yeah, so Derek Gladson, Tony Cardoza,
Love Tony.
you know, Bruce Zator.
Bruce is yeah.
Yeah, I love Bruce.
You know, like I put Bruce
Hagen.
Bruce is like maybe I'll even put you in there. Like there's this group of comics that I feel like are just the underdogs. You know, Bruce, there's this guy I'm good friends with, Brian Fukuda up in Seattle.
I know Brian.
Yeah. And it's like
He's
these are
done-
people that are funny, who have good jokes, but for whatever reason, you know, are just not people that people are like constantly giving shouts out to and like, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, not.
that's what I try. You know, one of the things I tried to do when I started comedy is, you know, reposting people's stories, or like if I'm at a mic, you know, I'll take a picture of somebody, tag them in it, and it's like none of that is gonna hurt me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's like, if I just feel like the whole thing, like treat everybody how you want to be treated. I do have a joke about that too, but you know, it's I would, if somebody reposted a picture of me, I would be happy about it. So I'm like, I'll just do it for them and whatever, you know. It's all promotion. You just never know what's going to happen. Like this person is friends with that comic. Like, oh, here's an example.
Yeah.
I had a show. The only show I ever put on, it was back at the end of September. And I had a few different comics, and one of them was JoJo Blacko.
Love him.
Yeah, JoJo. And these people came to my show that I didn't even know who they were. That I had like maybe 6 or 7 people who bought tickets that they just went on Eventbrite. They liked the idea. They read the description of the event, and they're like, "We'll go." They didn't know about any of the comics. You know, they just went to the show. And turns out 2 of these people that went to the show own a record label, and they really love JoJo so much that they were like, I don't know, doing some sort of a audio project or something with JoJo. And I don't know if that ever happened, but the guy, he emailed me and was like, hey, you want to help me record this? And I was like, yeah, I'm a comic, man. I'm not really a recording guy, but hey, that's awesome. I love that. And it's because of, you know, that little opportunity there, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, I made T-shirts for different comics, and made a logo for Robert Pinner. Now he's got it on his hat. So
That's sick.
You know,
Yeah, I gotta see that.
I love doing that stuff. You know, I
love
don't
Robert
wanna
Pinner too.
The whole thing is, I just don't ever want to like. I don't want it to be work, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I love making flyers for people, but then when somebody wants me to redo it like 3 different times and change this and that, then I'm like, all right, this is like, I was just trying to do something nice, and now you're making me work for it. So.
Yeah. Now you gotta fucking hit me up on Fiverr.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Now you gotta hit me up on Fiverr.
Fiverr, there you go. But yeah, man, this is
All those people I do consider friends
Yeah.
too, which is funny
Yeah.
because they're all really funny and really talented people that I've gotten blown away watching them.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's funny that you brought up that since you started doing comedy you don't watch some of the bigger people.
Yeah.
And I don't either.
Yeah. If they come to the club and I can get tickets or get
Yeah.
in for free, I'll definitely watch.
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. Like if
That's-
it's something, yeah.
That's fun. But like the Netflix specials and stuff, I rarely watch them these days.
Yeah, I can't sit through one because it's just because it has become more of a I have to be there, you know, and I've seen so many people that are just talented, funny people that you know you know I have more of a connection to than a
Yeah.
big name
Yeah,
Netflix,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? So it has become much more personal.
So where do you think the year's going for you as far as, you know, your goals for do you have goals for comedy? Is there anything?
I do.
Because you're doing paid shows, you're at the club sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's still always more things to accomplish.
Oh,
So-
of course, and I'm
so-
only
Yeah.
I'm not even close to where.
So what are the kind of things that you would like to do, you know?
Well, I would like to, by the end of the year, have and it's in the works right now, is have a 30-minute comedy special.
Nice.
Filmed.
Yeah, like a nice recorded,
Yeah.
clean 4K video. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I just saw, I don't know where you're going to do it, but I just saw they're putting new lights in at TCC actually on the
Oh
stage.
yeah, I wish I wish it would be somewhere like that. I really
You never
want
know.
it.
You never know.
You never know. You're right. You never know.
If they can give Mason A his own show, then anybody can have their own show. I'm just kidding, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean there are a lot of opportunities,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I've had to learn too, is that even just being 3 years into it or 3.5 years into it, it's still, the possibilities are open, and there's so much still left that I can do, that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just hitting where I have like 30 minutes of material anyways, that I'm just like
that's
about,
insane,
you
man,
know,
because
like,
every time I start building up that time, I start to like feel like, this stuff isn't that good, that, and I start cutting this out. So it's like right now, if I'm being honest with myself, I got like 2 really good 5-minute sets and I have a pretty good 10-minute set. But if I try to expand it, I feel like it doesn't flow very well, or maybe that's a little bit too dirty for this place. And so,
yeah,
like I said, I'm trying to, I don't know, trying to get where I see a lot of guys that are doing things that I'd like to do too, you know, like, you're down there, all the guys we mentioned earlier. Jeremiah Hughes is doing all sorts of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, Crispin and
it's kind of like it's once there's a threshold that you hit, and then once you hit that threshold, just like things that are happening for them, they start piling up.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like comedy is. Once you hit, there's like a threshold that once you hit, there's like everyone's like gonna hit you with bookings, not, you know what I mean? And it can happen, and it's kind of that momentum, you know, because there was, when I first started, I started getting booked on paid shows right away.
yeah.
And I started doing these backyard shows, and I started doing, you know what I mean? I was doing shows with Jay Will and Miss Newman. And
Miss Newman.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was she was one of the first people to book me on a paid show.
Nice.
And she, you know what I mean? I was selling tickets like I used to fight, you know, and we had to sell tickets for the fight. So it's the same thing, you know, I was like just selling tickets, you know, as if, you know, to this event, and then, you know, just going up there and just saying, you know, and then it slowed down, you know, and then it kind of like climb. I had a show in Seattle. I got paid like $250, which is like a normal headliner, you know, and it was for 2 20-minute sets, and the 2 20-minute sets were killer sets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was like a Valentine's Day show. I did really well. Even the other comics came up to me and they're like, we really liked your material, and you know, and then it kind of, after that sort of, you know, climactic, like, and that's when I first felt like a professional comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I was like, this was the easiest $250 I'd ever made. You know what I mean? I had so much fun. And then after that, it was like right back at the open mic comedy. 3-minute, 4-minute, you know, 3-minute set, 4-minute set. I gotta, you know, wait for these fucking 3 people who barely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably are illiterate or some shit. You know what I mean? And then I get my 3 minutes. You know what I mean? And then I kind of had to build that try to build that momentum again, because after that climactic show, after that, you know, it started getting scarce, some paid shows, you know, and I'm starting to think like I need to get paid more, you know what I mean? And then you start panicking about, you know, now I'm not, you know, should I start asking for, or, you know, should I start expecting more money, or expecting to get paid, or only going out? It's just, it's all crazy in your head, you know, like this shit.
Well, either way, you said the goal is to do a 30-minute special by the end of the year.
Yes, with
we're
a full
in March
crowd
right now, so we're gonna revisit this. The end of the
That's
year.
gonna get done.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll run the light for you. You just let me know. I want to talk about MMA a little bit. So here's the thing, man, is that I do like it. It's just I'm not that invested in it. You know, like I know all the famous guys. You know, let me tell you, the very first UFC I watched. Well, before that I was in the 90s as a kid, I liked wrestling. So, you know, I'd go to like Blockbuster and I'd rent those early UFCs that were like 30-minute matches at an hour long. And like, I don't remember much of those, but the first UFC I remember, you might have been pretty young for this. The main event, I believe it was Matt Hughes. Remember him?
Matt Hughes, yeah,
Matt
he used to
Hughes,
be one of my favorite fighters.
Matt Hughes versus Hoist Gracie.
Yes.
And Hoist Gracie was so little compared to him, and he was the favorite because the Gracie family, you know, they're legends.
Yeah.
And Matt Hughes got on top of him and just pounded him in the face, and
Yep.
and it was over. And my friend, who was just such a UFC fan, was so just upset, like just dying inside. And then from there, you know, I've seen like some Conor fights and stuff like that. And Khabib and you know, who's the other guy? The big Anderson Silva, all that kind, like.
Yeah.
But
Francis.
Yeah,
Ngannou.
Francis Ngannou. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
are you keep up on it on a regular basis?
Yeah, I do.
So
yeah.
Did you watch last night's event? And
I watched some of it. I had a lot of shit going on last night. I will probably watch it later on today.
Yeah.
I know the results. So it does kind of like I'll probably end up just watching the main event just to watch Leon Edwards get choked out.
So in terms of like pay-per-view events, like how would you rank this one as far as like the card versus is there going to be, is there?
Oh, you're talking about the UFC fight night last night?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like, just a fight night card.
Like, are there big fights that are expected to be happening this year that you're looking forward to? Maybe?
Oh yeah.
So who's fighting? That's what I'm trying to.
Oh,
get.
that's what you're trying to. Okay, yeah. You're like, what do you?
Explain to a guy who doesn't really watch it get me excited about it.
Okay,
like, who's coming up that you're excited about?
So UFC 314 is coming up, and this is a really stacked card, top to bottom. Some really great fights. It's Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez for a vacant 145-pound belt, and it's pretty insane because Ilya Topuria, who was the 145 champion who just vacated it, he just knocked out Max Holloway, who has never been knocked out before ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just vacated, he also knocked out Volkanovski.
Yeah.
So it's real wild that he vacated. He just up and left.
Why did he vacate it?
Because he wants to fight at 155.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to move up in weight, and there's this whole thing about, you know, moving up in weight and becoming a two-weight champion or a double champion, because that's what Conor McGregor did the first time.
Uh-huh.
But this fight is also including an up and coming fight camp called the Fight Nerds, and they're this group of very violent and very talented fighters. And two of them are fighting. One of them, Jean Silva, he's fighting Bryce Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, and you might know Bryce Mitchell from some of the stupid ass shit he says. Like he's like goes off about not believing in wearing seatbelts, and he's a flat earther. And
nice. All right.
He's like everyone was making fun of him because he's like a Nazi sympathizer, sort of. But they're
really betting against this guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they mashed him up with a monster.
Nice.
Because even UFC, even Dana White went out and was just like, we don't know what the fuck this idiot's saying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they mashed him up with a fucking monster. This Jean Silva, who has just been, I watched Jean Silva I think he was at UFC Seattle, which is I was pretty much almost front row there. I can't remember. I can't believe I'm blanking.
When was that?
That was, oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking out. That was the 18th? Was it March 18th? I can't remember, but it was like 2 weeks ago or like a month ago.
You were right there up front.
Yeah, I was right. How was
the energy in the room?
It was fucking nuts,
wild,
bro. Yeah, it was insane, the type of hype that was there, and just these people fighting in a cage with thousands of people.
I want to go. I would love to go to one because, you know, I've been to wrestling. I've been to, you know, basketball, stuff like that, but baseball, but like never been to a real fight, you know, never heard the fists, you know, on the face and stuff like that. I used to do martial arts when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
That was kids with cups kicking each other in the balls. You know, that's
Yeah, this is almost like as a guy, although you're probably not in danger, but like not just as a guy, but like when you're in there, you're kind of like, you know, ooh, a fight might happen. You know what I mean?
So,
or like
are you
outside the, you know?
Are you a jiu-jitsu practitioner?
I was. I was a pretty high level grappler.
So if somebody was to, what do you think's more valuable then if like you're in a situation where somebody's trying to, drunk guy trying to mess with you?
Yeah.
Is it better to know jiu-jitsu? Is it better to just knock them out? You know, like what's the easiest situation?
Well,
how do you get out of a situation like that where somebody's coming at you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's all, you know, obviously case by case.
Yeah.
But I mean, knocking someone out is easy.
Yeah.
Not easy, but it's easier.
But I
you
guess
know what I mean?
also it's dangerous because they can hit their head and stuff like that.
Well,
So,
of course, yeah, it's dangerous and it's harder to do than a lot of people. I mean, a drunk
Yeah.
person is easier to knock unconscious,
Yeah.
you know, but it's all about how you hit people.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a quote unquote button, your chin,
Yeah.
because your head is a natural, your jaw is a natural lever.
Yeah.
So like if you hit your jaw and you snaps your head back,
It's like a shock wave that goes through your
exactly.
Yeah.
And then now your brain's hitting the back of your skull. And then, so yeah, knocking someone out is it doesn't require as much power.
Yeah.
But it's harder because it requires an accurate shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the easiest way, but it can get you into danger. But what jiu-jitsu helps you with is a situation where someone grabs you, you know, and you kind of can't get out of it, or you know what I mean, or someone tries to, you know what I mean, someone tries to corner you, you know what I mean, and use body weight against you, or use, you know, or try to, because there is a big difference that technique and confidence makes when you can, you know, when you actually know the proper technique and you've been in live training situations or even a fight where you've experienced that heightened emotion.
Have you been choked out, or unconscious? Anything like? Have you ever had that, like in a fight or in sparring or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in fights. I got up kicked in the face, and I got knocked. And I'm really hard to knock out. Like I have a really, really, really strong chin. Like I've been in brawls with people, you know, twice, even 3 times my size, like gym fights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a tough person to knock out. It took an up kick, which is the guy was on his back, and it's probably honestly one of the few. I guarantee you, there's maybe 1 or 2 in the history of MMA, someone getting kicked from an up kick, you know what I mean, or get knocked out from an up kick like this. But I was standing, I had just taken him down, and I didn't train at all for this fight, which was a huge mistake. And everyone was telling me, you should have trained for this fight. Something bad's going to happen. And then something bad did happen. But I was standing over him, and I didn't secure his ankles, and then he fucking up kicked me, and I didn't even, I was dazed and out on my feet. And then I stepped back, and then he stood up, and then he hit me again, and then I dropped, and then he hit me a couple more times, and then I was knocked the fuck out. And I woke up like, what the fuck?
And was that like one of your last fights, or did you keep going for a while?
I did fight for a while after that. That was a fight that changed me a lot.
Yeah.
It changed my personality quite a bit. It changed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was the hardest I'd ever been knocked out. And I don't think I've really ever been knocked out like that, even in training.
Wow.
There was one time also too where I was actually in California. I could talk a lot about MMA because I've been fighting.
Good.
Yeah, I've been fighting my whole life. And I probably should save some of it for my own podcast too. But you know,
I'm talking more about you. You know, just talking about you and like, you know, and kind of like. Is it something you still practice regularly, or have you kind of more focused on kind of comedy and
focus more on comedy for sure?
Like,
yeah.
I mean, you probably still work out a little bit, but not.
Yeah.
You don't compete, you know. Obviously.
I haven't competed in a while. The last person I competed against, or last person I fought was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I haven't competed yet. And since then, I do want to start doing some jiu-jitsu. I just go to the gym and hit the bag sometimes just to get sharp, just to stay sharp.
Yeah.
You know, and because you never know when you gotta, you know, when you gotta
a drunk person in the crowd.
Yeah,
who
right.
Wants to come up on stage,
Yeah.
and the host has no idea what to do. You're gonna have to take matters into your own hands. So.
Exactly.
So, not that ever happens, but you never know. You know?
Yeah.
There's been I've had a few drunk people. No, I've never had any really big situations, but it's usually like women. Women are really just like they think like they're drunk and they're like, I can come up on stage and I can come try to grab the microphone and I can, the guys are usually, I don't know. Maybe they're just hitting on the women. I don't know. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, here, damn man, we've been doing this over an hour.
Hell yeah.
I have something special for us.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, a little plan. I planned a little something special. Let me ask you. You're pretty healthy. What do you think about soda? What's your opinion on soda here?
Soda, I drink it every once in a while.
As what's your favorite soda? What's your kind of go-to?
Right now, I'll probably like a Pepsi or something.
Pepsi.
Yeah,
Pepsi,
or something.
Interesting. The Pepsi.
Yeah.
Most people pick Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. I'm trying to be better with soda. I've all my life. I mean, like I got the problem where I love to try stuff.
Yeah, you like to try new stuff.
I don't like to try gay stuff, but
That's what it did seem like you were saying.
just to be clear.
That's hilarious.
But soda, sure.
Soda.
As long
We're
as
talking
it's
about sodas here.
As long as it's straight soda. No. So yeah.
No
I
cream
love,
soda.
Like there's a new soda that comes out, energy drinks. I love trying all that new stuff.
Okay.
So I'm always into it. Dr. Pepper is a weird one because it's not one of my favorites, but it's all right.
I fuck with Dr. Pepper.
My wife drinks Dr. Dr. Pepper is supposed to be a spicy cherry cola.
Yeah,
what they
that-
describe
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I'm like, really? It doesn't really taste cherry to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, I saw something at the store today. Decided we're going to do a little taste test, if that's all right. This is not going to be spicy.
Okay.
He did the spicy wings, but
Yeah. Back
booth bullies.
back booth bullies. Sorry, my
But
mouth
it
is
is
dry.
Easter's coming up, so
Hell yeah, man.
do a little taste test here.
Hell yeah.
Look at this. All right. Peeps. Dr. Pepper flavored Peeps. Peeps are not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of them.
I don't think anyone is a fan of Peeps.
But we do anything for a clip here, and maybe TikTok, or maybe even Dr. Pepper would like to sponsor the EZ Gadget Repair. Maybe put a Dr. Pepper machine in here. I don't know, but we're gonna try. What's Easter for you? I mean, did you grow up doing Easter? I'm just asking because I'm not Christian. I'm very our Easter was not religious at all. So
Yeah.
it seems like to me it's a very white holiday. So I don't
Yeah.
know what you think about Easter.
No, that was just so funny. Like, what's Easter to you? Well, we roast duck eggs with little ducks in them still. No, no, Easter was not very religious. It was never a religious, big religious family.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Yeah.
I went to church once or twice. My dad dragged me there. My parents were divorced, so I never had to go. But
Yeah.
it was always, I don't know why. It's just the egg hunt thing, the egg hunt and all
Yeah.
that. And so I got a kid who's almost 7, so
Yeah.
we're doing the Easter basket and all that. So, all right, man, let's. Hell
yeah.
I'm gonna.
That's the kind of stuff you only do if you do have a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
we're gonna try the Dr. Pepper Peeps. We're gonna do a live review, Dr. Pepper and Peeps. So, Xavier Rake here, breaking his diet. So, all right, here we
I'm
go.
not on a diet.
Not bad, actually.
Yeah, I know. It's not as bad as
It kind of tastes like the soda.
It does, actually, yeah.
I've been eating a lot of marshmallow stuff lately because my daughter is starting to get into Ghostbusters. And Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and all that. But
Oh, like the old movie with.
she loves all of them. We watch all of them. We watch the cartoons.
Oh, hell yeah.
She likes Spider-Man now too. There's this kid version called Spidey. It's on Disney, and so they have these little kid versions of Spider-Man and Ghost Spider and all that. So, All right, what do we think? What do you think about the peeps, huh? Not bad. Not something that I would go out of my way to get, but definitely had worse.
I think it's better than regular Peeps.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The only other one I want to try, which I couldn't find them, is they have icy flavor. You know, ices. You know.
Like the
frozen.
the
frozen drink. So.
From the movie theater.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, Snow White bombed. Did really bad.
You watched it?
No, I didn't watch it, but it did horrible. So.
Oh, you're talking about in terms of sales?
In terms of it came out this weekend. It was supposed to be a big hit. I think they made it for $200 million, and it's only made about $45 million so far.
Holy fuck, $200 million?
Yeah, and that's not even with the advertising. That's just the cost of the film.
That's fucking nuts.
Isn't that crazy to think about how expensive stuff is?
Yeah. And how shitty it still comes out.
Yeah. And how expensive is Nate Jackson's watch? All right, man. Well, I guess I won't keep you too much longer. This has been fun. I'm glad that we got to sit down and talk. I feel like there's just so much more we could talk about.
Oh, totally, man.
Do it again.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate your comedy and honestly your honesty too. Like, because there's a lot of people that. I feel like, you know, a lot of us are it's a little bit of a struggle, you know. It's like we're all trying to do this. We're all trying to have fun. We spend a lot of time, money, and energy to make people laugh. And then when it doesn't go well, it's like a really shitty feeling. But
yeah,
somehow we're persistent. We keep doing it. And I'm really excited to see what you got coming up next, man. And the podcast, again, the podcast is called
Punching Down.
Punching Down, which
yeah.
is double innuendo. No, entendre,
no innuendo.
Yeah, you know what it is. You host an open mic too? Is that right?
I do host the mic in Ruston at North End at Pearl.
Yeah, I haven't been to that one yet, but
yeah,
Brian was there a few weeks ago. I think who was this? Somebody featured there recently. Like maybe it was Brandon Meeks or maybe Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin Howells.
I heard Gavin did really great.
He did, and it was a full room. It was a bar show, and you know, it's just having a different environment. There's all these different environments in comedy. And I'm just happy to be able to try to put a show together and have an opportunity to you know have Gavin have a night like that, which is he did. He did a great.
Dude, that guy, he's such a nice young guy. He's gonna be so funny if he just continues to do what he does.
Oh yeah,
he's already funny now, and I'm like, dude, you are so young. Like you're so young. It's insane to me that when I was that age, I would have been nervous around all these people. Like it would have taken me a few years to feel comfortable in my skin. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, well, you're all the same. But and then what you said about the bar thing, man, like I have put my own messages out online where I'm just like, I'm tired of doing open mics at bars. I'm only going to do comedy clubs. But then you say stuff like that, and it gives me hope that maybe I got to keep an open mind that, you know, there might be a good show out there that's not at a comedy club, you know. So
yeah.
A lot of people putting on some good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have anything coming up like you want to talk about? You got any shows, like specific shows or?
No,
in the podcast and
just the podcast,
grinding it out.
Yeah, just the open mic / showcase every last Thursday at North End on North
Ruston.
End. Yeah, in Ruston, North End on Pearl.
And how is that like an in-person sign up or?
Well, yeah, in person, or you can hit me up on any of my socials.
And then how do people want to find? How do they find you on like Instagram? It's like at Joker. Something.
Oh yeah. If you do want to follow me, it's at Joke Dealer.
Joke Dealer.
And the last E is a 3.
Yeah. We'll put it on the screen. I always put the names on the screens. I put links.
Or just look me up. My name's Xavier Rake. You can look me up on Facebook. And I think I'll have a link. I think I have a link there to my Instagram as well. So
yeah, and you know, I saw you subscribe to my YouTube, so I'll put your YouTube in there. And
yep,
yeah,
awesome.
man, I'm excited for stuff. And if you want to get your stuff, if you have some stuff that needs to get fixed electronically, EZ Gadget Repair here in Tacoma. I mean, broken phone screens,
video game consoles,
video games. Do you have a favorite video game console that you like to work on?
The PlayStation 5.
PS5, really?
Is my favorite console to work on.
That's awesome, man.
It's easy to work on.
One, I don't have one. And two, I would think that would be the hard. It's kind of like a car, you know. You'd think like everything on it is so foreign and you don't know what to do with it, and you'd have to take it to a professional. But then you're the professional, so look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well,
Thanks for having me,
I got
man.
nothing else. Thanks for having me here. Like I said, I'm excited for everything, and yeah, we're gonna do some stuff, and I have a feeling you'll be sticking around. So cool. All right, that's the
He's a force
podcast.
to be
Thank you.
reckoned. Comedy Simp, the podcast you can't resist. Stephen Michael James, the host you won't wanna miss. From Seattle to the world, his humor will persist. Join the fun, get ready to enlist. Spitting fire.